A corporate finance guy learned how to run an e-commerce business watching YouTube videos. He flipped a phone accessories e-commerce company for $146,000 in just 13 months. We had more than 40 buyers fighting for it. Look, I've helped sell 20 businesses in the last few years for $121 million, including his. I've spoken to thousands of buyers over the years, and I know buyer psychology inside and out. And what happened with his business? It just proves that buyers will jump on a good business when they see it. In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through this seller's exact playbook and the specific moves that triggered a bidding war between 40 buyers. Buyers all excited for this company, even though he'd only bought it a year before and had no e-commerce experience beforehand. I'll share with you the 3 critical signals I look for in buyers and how to position the business so buyers compete to win the deal. Because right now, there's more qualified buyers hunting for businesses like yours than there's been in the last decade. But here's something that could have killed the deal. He wasn't the founder. He didn't build it from scratch. He'd only just bought it and had owned it for 13 months. And here's the thing that'll blow your mind. Businesses like this, without proper positioning, are unsellable, especially if you haven't owned it or run it for at least 2 years. And it was really a job, not a real business, because the owner did everything and it wouldn't operate without him. That's a pretty big negative in many buyers' eyes. Hi, I'm Nate Lynn. I sell companies like realtors sell homes. Specifically, businesses where the owner runs them remotely, like e-commerce, technology, internet companies, and professional service firms making anywhere between $1 to $30 million a year. I've been selling companies for over a decade, and in the last few years, I've sold 20 companies for over $121 million. If your business has strong cash flow and a buyer can run the business from any location, chances are I already know someone who wants to buy it. In fact, if that's the case, I guarantee I can bring you 30 serious buyers and get you an LOI in less than 4 months. Here's what drives me crazy. Many sellable businesses and business owners think their business isn't even sellable because they've heard industry rules or somebody tell them that they need a big team. They think that you need to be the original founder or that you need to have owned it for a minimum of 2 years. They think they need big teams and massive revenue, so they never even explore their options. They assume buyers won't be interested and don't even consider selling. Every day I've got buyers emailing me asking if I've got new companies for sale. They're looking for e-commerce companies, supplement companies, marketing agencies, technology companies, internet companies, anything online that can be run remotely. The buyer demand is there, but sellers are sitting on the sidelines disqualifying themselves before they even start. And here's what that costs you. You're missing out on the biggest sellers market in the last decade. Lowering interest rates means more aggressive buyers and cheaper money for them. Big corporations are acquiring smaller companies at a record pace, which means more competition for independent buyers too. Plus, the inventory of quality businesses is at an all-time low. But while you're sitting there waiting for the perfect time or convincing yourself you're not ready, other business owners are cashing out right now. I've seen people waiting years thinking they need to wait for the right time, only to watch their industry get disrupted by tariff uncertainty, or their margins get squeezed by advertising platforms like Meta and Google, or marketplace changes by Amazon, and you can't get that time back. Period. But this phone accessories owner, he proved there's a completely different playbook. He pushed past his own self-limiting beliefs and triggered the exact buyer response we wanted. Let me show you how we did it. So an e-commerce company owner that sells phone accessories reached out to me, and he was actually an M&A analyst himself at a big investment bank in the past. And he tells me, Nate, I only bought this company 13 months ago. I learned how to run it by watching YouTube videos, and I want to sell it and move on to another opportunity. But I'm not sure if it's even sellable. I could hear the doubt and hesitation in his voice on the first call. I stopped him right there and I said, let me guess, you probably think you need multiple years of ownership under your belt, right? He nodded and said, that's my worry. And I'm running all the marketing myself, and I'm not sure how many buyers are going to know how to do that or want to do that. I knew this wouldn't be easy, but we had to first start with completely rewiring this guy's thinking. The first thing I told him, and I was firm about this, we're not going to hide the fact that you just bought this a year ago. We're making it your superpower. See, most sellers try to downplay their past because they have imposter syndrome. They don't think that who they are or what they do is very special. But I was going to flip the script entirely. I coached him to say this to buyers. I was was an M&A analyst at an investment bank, and I found an undervalued business and I bought it. I optimized the operations and I made a system out of it. You're not buying someone's baby they can't let go of. You're buying an e-commerce business that's a printing press of money. That's a completely different energy, right? And all of this was true. He bought it for $30,000 and turned it into a money-making machine. It generated $120,000 for him, all in just 13 months. And we were about to sell it for another $60,000 on top of what he had already made. With one conversation, he went from hesitant to confident. Instead of explaining to buyers why they should overlook the short 13-month track record, we positioned it as a savvy business acquisition. That's when I knew we had something special brewing. Now here's where I really needed to guide him. His background and experience at an M&A investment bank was leading him in the wrong direction. He thought we needed to focus solely on strategic buyers. I said, hell no. We're going to speed date as many qualified buyers as we can, and we're going to make them fight over you. I showed him my system. First, we're going to get proof of funds from everyone. We only want serious buyers. Then I'll insinuate there's so much interest, we're going to make buyers bring their best offers as fast as they can. He was a little nervous about this approach. This is not what they did at the investment bank. He asked, what if they walk away? I told him, listen, if they're going to walk away because of a little competition, they're not a serious buyer anyways. So then I executed the plan. In 3 weeks, I got 40 NDAs signed. Every qualified buyer got the same message. We've received a lot of interest, and we'll be reviewing the offers next Friday. No upfront negotiations, no special interest, just pure competition. His confidence transformed, and it was incredible to watch. We witnessed buyers scrambling to get their offers in. We ended up with 2 LOIs that came in above asking price. That's when he truly understood the power of scarcity and mass competition. Now here's where things get tricky. Having multiple buyers is great unless you pick the wrong one. Of the 2 LOIs that came in, one was higher and one was lower. My client immediately gravitated towards the higher offer, which is exactly what I expected. That's when I had to be the devil's advocate. I said, wait, we're not going to immediately chase the higher number. I'll get that later. We want the buyer who's most likely to close with the highest cash at closing. Then I walked him through my 3-point offer analysis. The first point, cash at closing. The first offer came in with seller financing and earnouts. Red flag city. I made them show me their bank statements, and it turns out they wanted my client to finance 40% of the deal. The lower offer, a husband and wife team that had over $200,000 in their bank account. That's an easy choice. The second point, strategic fit. The higher price offer came from an e-commerce entrepreneur that already had significant e-commerce experience. So that was a pretty good fit. The husband and wife team didn't have e-commerce experience, and they were going to need the seller's help after closing, which was a little bit of a downside, but not that big a deal. Third point, timing to close. The higher price offer wanted 90 days to do due diligence before closing. The husband and wife, they could close in 7 days. I immediately knew what to do. I told them, let's leverage the competition here. Let's go back to the husband and wife, the cash buyers, and mention we have a higher offer. Let's see if they'll increase their price to match or beat the competition. I went back to the husband and wife and explained the competitive situation, and guess what? They increased their price. I told my client we got the highest price from the cash buyers with the shortest time to close. The only slight drawback is you're going to have to teach the wife a little bit about the business, which is going to take you some time after closing. He told me, no problem, I can do that. It's easy. He told me later they were great buyers, and this was the best decision he made. And 2 weeks later, we closed. He even shared the wire confirmation with me, and I'll share it with you. And of course, I've hidden his information to protect his confidentiality. He told me, I can't believe we turned this sale into a bidding war. I told him it was all in the process. You just needed the right guide. Now you've seen how I've guided another business owner, one who was also an M&A expert, from thinking he had an unsellable business into a bidding war in 133 days. But here's the thing, having a roadmap and actually executing it are 2 completely different challenges. Because when you're in the middle of negotiations with buyers who are interrogating you about your financials, your operations, your growth projections, things can go wrong. Even other M&A experts turn to me because I've closed so many of these deals and I will lead the process. That's why I will do something no other broker will. I will guarantee 30 interested buyers and an LOI in 4 months or less. I offer a free sellability consultation where I'll tell you how much your business is worth, which buyers will be interested in it, and what we need to do to it before we even list it. It's the same conversation I had with this e-commerce owner, which started his entire transformation. If you have an e-commerce, SaaS, technology, or service business doing at least $2 million per year, click the link below for a free consultation. I only represent 6 companies at a time, and and 3 spots are already taken. Remember, there's more qualified buyers hunting for businesses than any time in the last decade. The question is, are you willing to let an expert guide lead you through this process? Or are you going to try to figure it out while also juggling the stress and operations of your business?